The Brazilian Grand Prix has hosted some fantastic championship deciding races in its time, and this may be another one to add to that list. The Drivers' Championship could be wrapped up by Hamilton here, but what is more likely is the chance of the Constructors' Championship being finished here today. Despite my best efforts, I haven't been able to save Williams' Constructors' title hopes, as with the standings as they are, Williams would essentially need a 1-2 finish at the final two races of the season, and both Mercedes to not score many points at all. While my hopes of a British constructor winning are extremely slim, the chances of a British driver winning the Drivers' Championship are very high, even if it happens at the final race of the season and not here at Brazil. For my man Hamilton to win the championship today, he needs to simply outscore Rosberg today and outscore the only other championship contender, Valtteri Bottas, by 13 points. So even if Hamilton doesn't win the championship today, he almost certainly will in Abu Dhabi. So for me personally, it's time to sit back and enjoy the inevitable crowning of Mercedes and Hamilton whilst having some fun in these final two races, starting with the Brazilian Grand Prix. An overcast Brazil played host to qualifying for the penultimate round of the 2015 season. While the rain didn't come out in Q1, a brief scare for Jenson Button did. After going out on the prime tyres but completing a very slow lap, he had to use one of his sets of valuable option tyres to see him through safely into Q2. The massive improvement in lap time also helped as the clouds disappeared as the session went on, and so the track temperature rose. The guys eliminated from Q1 were both Mano Marushas led by Will Stevens once again. Marcus Ericsson finished his session in the lowly 18th place. Fernando Alonso wasn't able to find the pace his teammate did, as he will line up in 17th for tomorrow's race. Finally, the last guy to be eliminated from Q1 was Carlos Sainz, after he had a very poor session compared to Max Verstappen, who was nowhere near the drop zone. Q2 saw Jenson Button again try his luck on the prime tyres, but this time under the sun of Brazil, and with a high track temperature this time around, it briefly saw him in 8th place in the session. But in the dying seconds, he was shunted down to 11th place, and thus meant he was eliminated from Q2. The others who failed to make it into Q3 were both Force Indias, who finished as the slowest of the session. Maldonado lines up in 13th place, and Felipe Nasr at his home race will line up in a decent 12th place for the Sauber team, with Jenson Button, as previously mentioned, lining up in 11th place. Q3 then ended with Max Verstappen the slowest in the session, just pipped by Romain Grosjean in 9th. Both Red Bulls are just ahead, with Daniel Kvyat clearly the quickest of the two, with a half a second a lap gap to his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Next is the home star Felipe Massa, who will line up in 6th, and Kimi Raikkonen, who shares the 3rd row with him. Bottas qualified in 4th, just behind his main championship contender Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. Nico Rosberg is in 2nd, but the man on pole is Sebastian Vettel, who isn't even contending for the Drivers' Championship anymore, unlike the three guys behind him. So with the three Drivers' Championship contenders lining up right next to each other, we could be in for a very exciting Brazilian Grand Prix. So hey guys, and here we are on the grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix. As you can see, beautiful sunny skies, another dry Grand Prix. We haven't had that many wet Grand Prix this series, which has been a bit annoying, but as you can see, there's a race strategy on screen, and as I said in the intro, this is going to be quite a relaxed series because Hamilton's pretty much wrapped up the Drivers' Championship, and Mercedes are pretty much wrapped up the Constructors' Championship, so I may as well just have some fun with Jenson Button for the Brazilian Grand Prix as the 5 lights are out, and away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. As you can see, everybody has got off to a decent start. I don't think there's anybody who's done particularly bad, although we've lost a couple of places. We're now right up alongside the Sauber of Felipe Nasr. We've now got past the Sauber, and generally, we've lost a couple of places off the start. We weren't able to see it from the camera angle, but we have lost a couple of places. As you can see, we qualified 11th. We're now down to 12th behind Max Verstappen. We've dive it passed both of them up into turn 3, so we've got past Hulkenberg and Verstappen. We're up into 10th place into the points, and now as you can see there's a train which stretches right away back to Romain Grosjean, and as you can see they're going very slowly through turn 4. What is this all about? We're just going to dive up the inside of Grosjean, and Ricciardo are now up into 8th place, directly behind Daniel Kvyat. And wow, I mean, Ricciardo was trying to make the move back past us, but he wasn't able to do it. We're now going to try and get past Kvyat. And wow, what a move. We're in a McLaren Honda, remember, but they're going so slowly through Sector 2, and they're holding up such a big train that we're past Kvyat. That's phenomenal. This is Lewis Hamilton now trying to get past the Williams of Valtteri Bottas. This is a couple of laps later. Nico Rosberg has shot off into the distance. This is a battle for 2nd place. As you can see, there's a massive scrap going on between Hamilton and Bottas, and he hasn't been able to make the move. Now this is Felipe Massa who's behind Lewis Hamilton. Obviously this is good for the Constructors' Championship, but Rosberg is winning the race, so it's all in vain for the Williams boys. But both Williams are now ahead of Lewis Hamilton, so Hamilton's having a shocker of a race. And at the minute, he isn't going to outscore Rosberg or Bottas, so the championship will have to be decided in Abu Dhabi at the moment. And as you can see, we're getting onto the back of this train because they're battling, and for some reason the AI are so slow in Sector 2. Look, we're right up behind Kimi Raikkonen. And are we going to dive it around the outside of Kimi Raikkonen? Just about. He's going to have the inside line. And is he going to be able to hold the place? Yes, he is, but we're now going to have the inside line to this corner. Just clip the back of him. But luckily no car gets any damage or spins out from that. So we're up into 5th place, right up behind the championship leader Lewis Hamilton. This isn't a McLaren Honda, remember. Currently, as all that is happening, Nico Rosberg has just come into the pits from the race lead, pitting in very early actually. So as you can see, we're going to get past Nico Rosberg now. Both Ferraris are also doing the same strategy as Nico Rosberg, so they're both pitting in very early, way too early I think. But Hamilton and both Williams and ourselves are staying out, along with Daniel Ricciardo, who is behind us. Now, is Hamilton going to be able to get past the Williams? No, he won't, not there, because as you can see, coming into Sector 2, he is now still behind both Williams guys. As you can see, Valtteri Bottas is now leading the race. Oh no, he's in 2nd. It is Massa who is leading the race actually. So this is doing okay for Williams in the Constructors' Championship, but Hamilton's still in 3rd. And what on earth have we done? We've just passed Lewis Hamilton. He's going very slowly. One thing I should mention is Hamilton is on the prime tyres. This is why he's struggling to stay ahead of the Williams guys, because they're on the option tyres. As you can see, that is why one of them is coming to the pits right now. And we've accidentally passed Hamilton. I don't really want to do this because I want him to win the Drivers' Championship from a British POV, but I've accidentally passed him because he's going so slow on the prime tyres, while meanwhile we're on the options. But anyway, as you can see, we're up into 2nd place. Felipe Massa is now coming into the pits this lap. Now we're going to have to let Hamilton through because we're holding him up and we need him to win the Drivers' Championship and to score some points for Britain in the National Championship. So we could have led the race there, but we let Hamilton through. And has Massa come into the pits? No, he hasn't. I must be mistaken. Or has Massa come into the pits, rather? What is going on? Massa hasn't come into the pits. He's come into the pits this lap, actually. So now we're in 2nd place. It's a British 1-2 with Hamilton in the lead. Jenson Button 2nd. Kvyat is now in 3rd. And pretty much everyone has come into the pits apart from ourselves, who we're stretching out our option tyres a lot. And Lewis Hamilton is on the prime tyres, so he's able to stretch his tyres much further. As you can see, Hamilton pitted on the same lap as us, so we've actually got fairly decent tyre wear if we're able to go as far as Hamilton could on the prime tyres. But anyway, coming into the pits, I believe we have fitted on another set of the option tyres. Yes, we have. Will we come out in 7th place? That will be directly behind Kimi Raikkonen, obviously. We passed Kimi Raikkonen, but he's done a massive undercut on us, along with Vettel and Nico Rosberg, who all pitted in at the same time as him. So we're going to come out in 7th place, crucially ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, because we've had a few battles with the Red Bulls while in the McLaren, namely Hungary comes to mind, and Bahrain for that matter. So this is why I want to stay ahead of the Red Bulls, because we are battling with them. We have done this entire series really, and now we're ahead of both Ferraris who've pitted in, and we're ahead of Nico Rosberg, who's also pitted in for the 2nd time this race. So we're up into 4th place, again behind both Williamses and Lewis Hamilton. So now, as you can see, one of the Williams guys is into the pits now. It is Valtteri Bottas. So it should be Felipe Massa in 2nd place. Yes, it is, and that means Lewis Hamilton, who's now on the option tyres along with everyone else. Lewis Hamilton is leading the race, which is fantastic. and that means he should score loads of points for Britain in the National Championship, and obviously should secure his Drivers' Championship. But now look, someone's trying to make a move down the inside of us. That's Daniel Ricciardo, who's trying to make the move on us. He hasn't been able to do it, but he's getting very up close and personal with us. There's also a Mercedes directly behind. That is Nico Rosberg, who, good thing we're holding him up for the Drivers' Championship and for the Constructors' Championship. That's a very good thing we're holding him up there. But this is not good. We were quicker than lots of the front running cars, but now look, Ricciardo's just right up behind us. Has he made the move going into turn 1? Yes, he has. He's gone up the inside, although for turn 2 we're going to have the inside line. I've just about been able to defend the place from Ricciardo. But obviously we got Nico Rosberg there, who isn't realistically battling for position. Unlike Ricciardo, who is battling for position, Rosberg has already made a pit stop. We shouldn't really battle him too hard. As you can see, he's got past Ricciardo there. Now, is Rosberg going to get past us? Not quite at the moment. Meanwhile, Hamilton is extending his gap over Rosberg while we're holding him up, and Felipe Massa for that matter. So we're doing both of those guys a massive favour, because at the first stint, Rosberg pulled out a massive gap over the other two. And now look, Rosberg's been able to go up inside him, and now he's just clipped into the back of him. So that's that Ricciardo throw. I don't know where Rosberg is, because we've delayed him. This game, you just get stuck on the back of another person's car, and we've been able to dive it up the inside of Ricciardo at the end of Sector 2. So now we're just about maintaining third place. Rosberg hasn't lost too much time, and he hasn't got any damage either. Neither have we. But the fact we're going so slow does tell you we need to come in and pit for some option tyres. But we're having to. We need to, the race strategy I've got in mind. We need to stretch these option tyres out for several laps. We need to do like another 3 laps on these tyres. A car's coming to the pits. It is Felipe Massa who's coming to the pits. It's now Sebastian Vettel who's directly behind us. And as I said, Lewis Hamilton, meanwhile, is just pulling away from us. So, as you can see, this is on board with Nico Rosberg. Is Vettel going to get past us? And no, but Rosberg's just going to slam into the side of him, shove Vettel out of the way, and he's now up and directly behind us. He's going to have DRS, and obviously the fact that Mercedes is such a quicker car, and his tyres are in much better nick, and he's able to easily get past us and up into second place. And as you can see, we're just struggling because we're stretching these tyres out for so incredibly long, 9 laps on these option tyres. Rosberg's only doing 6 laps, and Vettel for that matter, they're only doing 6 laps on their options, so our tyres are destroyed. Vettel's gone up the inside of us. It's inevitable really, there's no point fighting it. We tried to, but there's no point because they're on different strategies anyway, and they're way out of our league. Valtteri Bottas is now directly behind us. We should let him through quite easily because obviously the British constructor, and we're not really going to fight that. We're just going to let him through for the British constructor, and even though their hopes of winning the constructor title are extremely slim, we may as well let him through. Massa we also let through relatively easily, and this is the lap that finally we're going to come into the pits. We've needed to come into the pits at some time, and look how destroyed our tyres are. This is why everybody was able to catch up on us so dramatically, because our tyres were so destroyed. Kimi Raikkonen easily goes past us. We're now in 7th place. We've got Daniel Kvyat who's pitting on the same lap as us, so we should be able to maintain our advantage over Kvyat, because realistically the Mercedes, the Williams and the Ferraris are way too ahead of us. We've been close to them in track position for a large part of this race, but we're not going to be able to stick with them in the long run. It's the Red Bulls we're battling. Speaking of which, Ricciardo doing a different strategy. Has he got past us? It seems like he has, and obviously he's got a much better line while we're trapped inside the pit wall, and he's got past us, so he has pitted in several laps before we did, and we're on the prime tyres, so we might struggle to keep up with Ricciardo. We've just got to hope the strategy goes in our favour as Felipe Massa also gets past us upon the pits. And this is Kimi Raikkonen who's just made his 3rd stop, and he's going very slowly out the exit of the pits. He's holding up Massa, and that's allowed us to get past Felipe Massa. Now we're on the prime tyres. We shouldn't be able to get past Raikkonen, especially as he's in a Ferrari, we're in a McLaren, but we're right up behind him. He does pull away eventually. As you can see, Ricciardo is now the guy in 7th place. I believe he's in the pits right now. Yes, he is. So we've been able to again jump Ricciardo, and hopefully we can finish ahead of Ricciardo, hopefully, and Kvyat for that matter. And yeah, that's basically those who are now rivals for this race are both Red Bulls. Can we stay ahead of both of them? Because as you can see, we're in 6th place. The Ferraris, the Williams and the Mercedes are way too far ahead of us. We keep on jumping them and pit stop strategy, but it's only temporary. As you can see, coming into for our last stop, we're going to fit on the option tyres for our last stop. Now this is crucial. Where do we come out? Bottas has passed us, Raikkonen has passed us, but here's Daniel Ricciardo, he's passed us. Now he's on the prime tyres, we're on the option tyres, so we have got a performance advantage, but crucially, he's got past us, he's several seconds ahead of us. I could tell you he's about 8 seconds ahead of us. We're ahead of Kvyat, that is good, and we're in 8th place, that is some solid points from McLaren. But we're behind Ricciardo now, we've been with him all race, can we get past him? Obviously he's on the slower tyres, as you can see 7.8 seconds I believe that says, 7.8 seconds behind him, and we'll have to see if we can catch up in these last few laps. Now, just a recap of the race. Lewis Hamilton is leading the race, so at the minute he is looking like he can take the driver's title, although he needs to pit again. He's done a stop less than everyone else, he needs to pit again. Will Rosberg emerge ahead of Hamilton? Let's find out. Vettel third, and as you can see Ricciardo is in 7th on the prime tyres with everyone else around us on the prime tyres. Alonso doing well for McLaren, he's in 10th currently. Now this is Valtteri Bottas, we're on the second to last lap here. Valtteri Bottas, who's running in 4th place, and he's coming to the pits on the second to last lap. What is he doing? He has completely destroyed the Constructors' Championship hopes. That's also, he was in 4th. That was the position which could have stopped Hamilton winning the Drivers' Championship this race. As you can see, we've now breezed past Valtteri Bottas. Bottas is behind us, and Bottas was in 4th. That would have stopped Hamilton winning the Drivers' Championship today. But because he's coming to the pits that's stupid. But that does mean Hamilton, because he's ahead of Rosberg, and he's miles ahead of Bottas now, sufficiently ahead, Hamilton's going to come around the last corner to win the 2015 World Championship at Brazil.
3 times World Champion, Lewis. You've only gone and done it, mate.
That's the greatest moment of my life. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. I'm just so grateful. Thank you. To my family, I love you all. Thank you.
So, as you can see there, emotional scenes for Lewis Hamilton as he has won the 2015 Drivers' Championship. We're going to come out in 7th place, a very good finish for the McLaren and for Jenson Button, but really the day belongs to Lewis Hamilton.
You know, these are the guys that make this all possible, and the guys back at the factory. I hope they're celebrating. I hope you guys are drinking. I've got to catch up, but I'm so grateful for everything you've done and supporting me all this way. It's been amazing. That race was so much fun. The emotion right now, it's very, very hard to describe it, man. I've got so much energy right now. I just want to go and run. I feel like I could run a marathon right now. It's just incredibly empowering. I feel very, very, it's a very, very much a humbling experience, you know. I was a kid wanting to be world champion and be a F1 driver and do something similar to Ayrton. Now I've got the same amount of championships as Ayrton. I can't believe it. This doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel real.
So as you can see, emotional scenes for Lewis Hamilton as he is now a triple world champion with a race to spare. Nico Rosberg finishing 2nd means Mercedes have wrapped up the Constructors' Championship as well. All 3 championships are done. Now essentially Vettel finished in 3rd, so he's the best of the rest there. We finished in 7th, a very good finish for ourselves there. Alonso just outside the points in the end with Nasser taking the last points. Bottas finished down in 8th. And really, wow, what an interesting race. Grosjean finishing last. Unfortunately, they're doing an 8-stop strategy, weirdly, much like he has done in the previous races. So moving on to the Drivers' Table, and as you can see, Lewis Hamilton has won the Drivers' Championship with a race to spare, and Bottas doing such a weird strategy means even Rosberg's jumped him, so is Mercedes 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship. Moving on to the second half of the Drivers' Table, and obviously a 7th place, a phenomenal finish for us. Obviously it was overshadowed by Lewis Hamilton winning the Drivers' Championship and Mercedes winning the Constructors, but it means we jumped Sergio Perez, and with 22 points, that's a very, very decent amount of points for Jenson Button this series. Then on to the Constructors' Championship, and as you can see, Mercedes nearly 100 points ahead of their nearest rivals Williams, and Williams can no longer win the Constructors' Championship, so I've succeeded in one of my goals. We couldn't get Britain to win the National Championship, we couldn't get a British constructor to win the Constructors' Championship, but we did get a British driver to win the Drivers' Championship. As you can see, Williams there, way off Mercedes, but the odds were always against Williams anyway. Although we have got to watch out and hope that Williams do not get jumped by Ferrari at the last race of the season, so we have got to watch out for that. Finally onto the Nations Table, and as you can see, Finland won the Nations Table way back in Mexico, so they're way ahead of everyone else. Great Britain, we're in 4th, thanks to Hamilton's win here today, and Jenson Button's 7th place. We're in 4th, we cannot overtake anyone, but Russia can get past us and Brazil, so we have got to watch out and hopefully we can maintain 4th place. And I just want to say, throw out a quick word for France, 9th place, and obviously the tragic events that happened in Paris and in France a few days ago. Really, really bad scenes. I know how much of a seminal world event this is, and you know, Grosjean didn't do very well this race in this series, but I think it's fair to say at this moment in time, with all the events that's happening, I think we're all in some way supporting France right now. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and well, that's it. I mean, this series is essentially done. We've got one more race to go, but there isn't a lot to play for really. As I said at the start of this episode, it's going to be a laid back, relaxed episode because there's no championships to play for. So not really, apart from Williams defending their Constructors' place and us defending our place in the Nations table. There's nothing really to go for, so it's going to be quite a relaxed, laid back, hopefully enjoyable Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and I hope to see you for it. So I'll see you then.